Wanda.
Animal luar koso.
Anto kora winji. Before no ka winji. Before no ka winji. Telo.
Right, GK. Neno gima timore kanyo. Akia ni jogi igi wang' gi cheo momini gir nyono waya.
Chalo.
Chalo ni jogi igi wang' gi. Ma en gima ok iyiero. Be wan ok wamor kwa wuoyo kode nikech ok wayiere, be ok ilare, be ni kieta inikia. Inipo mana kwacho ni kofi olwer e wiyi. Koro joluo wa man ka Ramogi, nyikwa Ramogi man ka. Gima dhi timre en ni wan wamor kabisa. Kawuono wadwa somo buk to kendo ipuonjowa gi The Epilogue mar Lwanda Magere kod ng'at manyien, ok Ramoth mapile cha, en Ramoth makoro osemi oket kofia e wiye ni en koro e din mar under stewardship sponsorship of Agricultural Institute for the Luo Heritage Research and Education. Koro amor mana sewacho koro wabed kwang'eyo ni is the dean of the school. To nawachonu no ok en gima biro bedo mayot, en institute ma biro bedo mapek, en institute mitime mana research e gige Ramogi. Koro Ramoth bro steward it towards Ramogi medical hubs ma koro wachiedhre mana gi gige joluo. Jo big pharma kowinjo to bro nyono nwa waya, but onge wach.
Telo jogi otamre ni wach gimidwa wacho. Gitamre kabisa. Inyono ni waya. Gigeda buti kanyo. Gigeda buti kanyo. Gidwa ni wuo. Kera machine ma block network e boot studio. Oluari tiduogo. Okay. Koduogo to abodhi. Erokamano Mogi. Iduogo Telo. Jogi di mok tugo.
Dhi mbele aparo na kaling maybe gidhi weya mondi.
Giketo ni AI kiyawo dhogi kama to ta. Erokamano sana nyikwa Ramogi. Kaka wachoga. Luo is our business. And we're open for business. 24/7. 365, 366, 367. 394,000. Erokamano sana. And again, you could have been anywhere in the world, but in Kodwaka. So, Mano will never take for granted. In the message, one the messengers. In teko, unie mavul, one moyudo manashe dunie Lwanda, one mamako manakidi Martin, mondo gengwa, one hope nonyalo present to with honor and clarity what the message deserves. And at the end of this, we hope will be found to be worthy messengers. Omiwa another chance. Mar kelonu mit ber tut kut maluo. Kwa dimbele. Kwa chako. Wadonjo I Epilogue mar Lwanda Magere. Wasekadho through the chapters go. To last time wachopo kama Lwanda otho. Kama Lwanda kuro oseweyo joge. Koro onge modong' mang'eny. En mana modong' tin. Watang'en story mar Lwanda pok orumo. Nitie kaka wabodhi mbele kode. Koro wawena udo rwaku alafu wasom modong'. Telo, gisemi nafas giwei. Gisewei. Wonle. Mano pod ginyono ni wonle. Pod ginyono ne. So, iduogo telo.
Yeah.
Na wacho mana ni irwak jo nyikwa Ramogi alafu wadhi wasome. Nikech modong' ok ng'eny. Ibedo muted kendo telo.
En epilogue ema wantie donge. Koro ok ong'eny ahinya modong'.
Kata ok ahinya ok ng'eny.
Okay, right. But warwak jogi officially nikech nitie kaka wawacho ga pile ka pile nitie jomoko ma ok gin nyikwa Ramogi but gihero Ramogi. Koro giwinjwaga. Koro ok wanyal wegi chien. So I just want to officially say that good evening once again, members of the Ramogi Cultural Book Club and all seekers of wisdom, identity, and ancestral consciousness. Tonight, we arrive at a very important moment in our journey through Lwanda Magere, the epilogue. This is the moment where the battle quiets, but the deeper questions begin. For when a hero falls, a community is forced to ask, what remains after the strength is gone? What lessons survive after the legend? You remember, this is off what I'm saying, but you remember we are still even asking ourselves these questions after the passing of the doyen of politics, the right honorable, the late Raila Amolo Odinga. The questions remain. What remains after the strength is gone? What lessons
Telo. Either jogi nono ni waya ama ibiro teko ma juogi ma teko ma juogi ketho network. Achiel kuom mago. Ibiro iduogo ka jodongo osemi recharge. Jodongo osemi recharge koro kiwuoyo to network kethre aketha. Telo iwinja. Kech aneno kendo jogi olwari kendo. But
JK?
Kendo gilwari kendo.
Alal kanye. What did I say last name?
Nirwako jowa.
Yeah, so yeah, wacho ni as our theme song
Ni
says.
penjo kama, ni wacho kama. Ni wasomo gini kwa biro kiwacho ka Raila kacha, doyen of politics after his parting.
Yeah, so after his parting, the question remains as the question was then when Lwanda Magere was killed. The question remained today, even when Raila just died not more than a year ago. So the questions are the same. What remains after the strength is gone? What lessons survive after the legend? To guide us through this final reflection, we are honored once more to welcome philosopher, cultural thinker, and interpreter of indigenous wisdom, G.K. Ramoth. We know that Ramoth does not merely analyze stories, he uncovers the spirit beneath them. Through his reflections, we are reminded that African oral narratives are not simple tales of the past, but living mirrors through which communities examine leadership, betrayal, identity, healing, and survival. As our theme song says, we are the rhythm of our ancestral journey. And tonight, Through the epilogue of Lwanda Magere, we listen carefully to the rhythm left behind after triumph, betrayal, loss, and memory. May this discussion not only help us understand Lwanda Magere better, but also understand ourselves, our communities, and the responsibilities of the present generation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Philosopher G.K. Ramoth as we take us through the epilogue of Lwanda Magere. Welcome, Ramoth.
Erokamano. Achaka, because this thing can say the poster says epilogue, but now as we go on is when it will get even more interesting. Correct at the story, we look back on the stories and it will go much deeper. Now we are on chapter 8, The Immortal Legend. No. That is. Nice. The last time on our song we had read about the still okay. Let me start here. From the last time we had read the song of Lwanda that was being sung. Orero. Kidi Lwanda. Lwanda Magere Orero. Kidi Lwanda Maidotek. Which means oh my. He's a tough rock. Lwanda Magere, oh my. He's the greatest unconquered rock. The loss of Lwanda Magere left a void that could never be filled. He had been more than a protector. He had been a beacon of hope. His presence had given the villagers strength and courage. Now, they felt lost and vulnerable. The battle had not only taken their hero, but had also shattered their sense of security. The heart of the Luo people was broken. The village seemed to weep with them. The depth of their loss was palpable. The villagers struggled to come to terms with the absence of their hero. The elders knew that they had to honor Lwanda's memory. They began to plan a ceremony to commemorate his life and deeds. They wanted to remind the villagers of the courage and strength Lwanda had shown. They hoped that by honoring him, they could find some solace in their grief. They gathered around his body, whispering prayers and offering blessings. They asked the ancestors to guide Lwanda's spirit and to watch over the village in his absence. The villagers prepared for the ceremony with heavy hearts. They cleaned and decorated the village square, where the ceremony of getting rid of bad omen, also called Teroburu, would take place. They hung colorful clothes and arranged flowers in intricate patterns. The children helped, their teeny hands working diligently. They wanted to do something to honor the hero they had admired so much. They shared stories of Lwanda's bravery as they worked, finding comfort in the memories. On the day of the Teroburu ceremony, the village gathered once more. The sun was high, casting a warm glow on the scene. The elders stood at the front, ready to lead the ceremony. They began with a prayer from their god, Nyakalaga, asking for strength and guidance. They spoke of Lwanda's deeds, recounting his many battles and acts of bravery. They reminded the villagers of the sacrifice he had made to protect them. Just a minute. Just a second. Sorry. Apologies. They reminded the villagers of the sacrifices he had made to protect them. Their words were filled with respect and admiration. Standing together in solidarity, standing together in solidarity, the villagers felt a deep sense of community and shared purpose. There was plenty of food to eat. Buta, nyamami, kamongo, omena, fulu, ngege, obambo, arumtidi, ongowang, tula, alia, ngwen, obuolo, aluru, all with the serving of kuon bell. The villagers listened in silence, their hearts heavy with grief. They knew that Lwanda's legacy would live on through the stories they told. They understood that his bravery and strength would continue to inspire future generations. As the ceremony came to an end, they made a vow. They promised to honor Lwanda's memory by living with the same courage and determination he had shown. They knew that this was the best way to keep his spirit alive. Their determination to uphold Lwanda's values in their lives was unwavering, a testament to the enduring power of his legacy. The loss of Lwanda Magere was a tragedy that the village would never forget. But through their sorrow, they found a way to honor his legacy. They remembered the hero who had given everything to protect them. They held onto the lessons he had taught them about bravery, trust, and the high cost of betrayal. And in their hearts, they knew that Lwanda Magere would always be with them, watching over his people. The ceremonies were filled with prayers and offerings. They asked the ancestors to guide Lwanda's spirit and to watch over the village. They honored his memory with songs and stories, each a tribute to his bravery and sacrifice. The Luo knew that they had lost more than a warrior. They had lost a part of their heart. Chapter 7, subchapter 2. The Song of Lwanda. The village decided to create a traditional song to honor Lwanda Magere. Skilled storytellers and musicians gathered in the central square. They sat in a circle, their faces lit by the soft glow of lanterns. The air buzzed with excitement and purpose. Elders shared stories of Lwanda's bravery, recounting his battles and sacrifices. Villagers joined in, adding their memories of the hero who had protected them. The storytellers listened intently, weaving these tales with verses. Musicians strummed their instruments, searching for the perfect melody to match the words. As the evening wore on, the song began to take shape. The storytellers and musicians worked together, refining the lyrics and melody. Each verse captured a different aspect of Lwanda's life. They spoke of his strength, bravery, unwavering dedication to his people. The musicians played softly, their notes blending with the voices of the storytellers. The melody was haunting and uplifting, reflecting the dual nature of Lwanda's legacy. The villagers watched in awe as the song came to life, feeling deeply connected to the words and music. The song's key lyrics highlighted Lwanda's most notable battles and victories. One verse described his fearless charge against a mighty enemy, his spear flashing in the sunlight. Another spoke of his strategic brilliance, how he outsmarted foes with clever tricks. The themes of bravery, sacrifice, and leadership ran through every line. The song also included traditional proverbs and wisdom, adding depth and cultural significance. Phrases like "a warrior's heart is stronger than his sword" and "true strength comes from within" resonated with the listeners. The village gathered for its first performance. When the song was finally complete, the setting was magical. Lanterns hung from trees, casting a warm glow over the crowd. The air was filled with anticipation. The storytellers and musicians took their places, ready to share the song with the community. A hush fell over the crowd as the first notes filled the air. The song began softly, and the melody rising and falling like a gentle breeze. The lyrics flowed smoothly, painting vivid pictures of Lwanda's heroism. The villagers listened with rapt attention, their hearts swelling with pride and emotion. The audience's reactions were profoundly moving. Tears filled the eyes of many as they listened to the verses recounting Lwanda's sacrifices. Children sat wide-eyed, absorbing the tales of bravery and strength. Elders nodded in approval, recognizing the wisdom in the proverbs. The song profoundly touched everyone, uniting their shared admiration for Lwanda. As the final notes faded away, the crowd erupted in applause. The storytellers and musicians bowed, their faces glowing with pride and satisfaction. The song's cultural significance was immense. It quickly became a central part of community gatherings and ceremonies. Whenever the village came together to celebrate or remember, the song of Lwanda was sung. It served as a teaching tool for future generations, imparting valuable lessons about bravery, sacrifice, and leadership. Parents taught the song to their children, ensuring that Lwanda's legacy would live on. The music evolved with each generation, adding their verses and interpretations. It became a living tradition, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Luo people. The Song of Lwanda also played a crucial role in preserving his legacy. Through its verses, the stories of his deeds were kept alive. The song reminded the villagers of the values he stood for and the sacrifices he made. It inspired them to live with the same courage and dedication. The melody and the lyrics echoed through the village, a constant binding the community to their shared heritage. In the years that followed, the song continued to be a source of inspiration. It was sung at important events, from weddings to funerals. It was a comfort in times of sorrow and a celebration in times of joy. The song of Lwanda Magere was more than just a tribute. It was a living, breathing part of the village's culture. It captured the essence of a hero who had given everything to protect his people. Through its verses, his spirit lived on, guiding and inspiring the generations to come. Ouda onle. In Kenya. Telo jogi okdwa ni wuo kawuono. Telo.
GK.
Awinji.
Kawuono jogi ng'ada seche te.
Ibiro gi double portion ma juogi.
Abiro gi double portion ma juogi kawuono. Jodongo osewuoyo koda kawuono, koro igi wang' ma. Itieko, orumo. Awinje tang'adre.
Podi.
No, aparo ni idhi mbele nikech I'm just drafting questions ma kitieke to wagini. Kitieko somo ma kawuono to an gi questions to kode just gimoro madwa connect go, adwa penji go around some questions around it. So the other mbele mondo. Jige winja?
Awinji maler.
Okay, alright, dhi mbele.
Nitie aruf moro ma kahawa kama ne distracta matin, but I will sabia. Abotemo bravery. Abotemo bravery and sacrifice. Monda tiek.
Keywords, bravery, sacrifice. Keywords.
Aya. Chapter 3. The idea, a mausoleum for the warrior legend. The idea to create a mausoleum honoring Lwanda Magere came from deep discussions among the villagers and the elders. They wanted a lasting tribute to their hero. The elders gathered in the central hut to discuss what this mausoleum should look like and who would make it. They wanted it not just to house Lwanda Magere's body, Kidi Lwanda, which is now a rock, but also to capture Lwanda's strength and bravery. They also wanted it to show his role as a protector. And after many talks, they chose an artist called Onono Orayo from Sido clan in Kano. He was known for his carving skills and ability to build huts in a half. Orayo had a deep understanding of the culture of Joluo. Orayo listened to the elders' ideas and began to sketch a design. The design of the mausoleum was full of symbolic elements. Lwanda would be enclosed in an open tomb. His shield would stand erect on each side of his body. His spear
Okay.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that. We had to. The stream fell off, and as we've had
JK,
it. Daka Chelouda, we were
okay.
communication to try and
All right.
solve it with the engineers and Mr. Uda. So if you overheard that, it was all in to serve you better. And apologies for this network issues as usual when we get really deep and thick with it. Things do happen. So we are used to this, and law is our business, and will continue. So, Oda, thank you for reaching out to me and seeing how we can solve this. Thank you so much, because I noticed a little later that it had dropped completely. So the engineers were on it, and now we are back. Oda,
Yes.
please say something.
No,
No, Luar.
we just have to say sorry for, but yeah, there are things that sometimes go beyond our capability. But our engineers are at work. I think we're back, so we can just continue now. Thank you.
No, come on. Thank you. Let me continue from Lwanda. No. The mausoleum. I read that. Okay, let me just continue. Schools bring children to see the mausoleum, using it as a teaching tool. The lessons they learned there stay with them, shaping their understanding of being a hero. The community takes great care to preserve the mausoleum. They clean it regularly and make sure it is in good condition. They hold ceremonies to honor it, keep the spirit of Lwanda alive. The mausoleum stands as a testament to the power of unity and the importance of remembering one's roots. It is a source of inspiration and pride for everyone who sees it. The legacy of Lwanda Magere lives on through this beautiful tribute, reminding all who see it of the hero who had given everything to protect his people. Telling the stories by the fire. This is up chapter 4. In the evenings, the village now gathers around a roaring fire. The flames flickered, casting dancing shadows on the face of the listeners. The air is filled with the scent of burning wood and the soft murmurs of voices. These gatherings are special. They are a time to share stories, passing down wisdom, and keeping traditions alive. The elders take their place by the fire, ready to share the tales of Lwanda Magere. Skilled storytellers joined them. Their voices rich with emotion and experience. The role of oral traditions in preserving Lwanda's story is vital. The elders and the storytellers use traditional techniques to bring the tales to life. Their voices rise and fall, creating a rhythm that captivates the listeners. They use gestures and expressions to add depth to their words. The stories are more than words. They are living, breathing parts of the village's culture. Each story is carefully crafted to teach lessons, inspire, and keep the memory of Lwanda Magere alive. The firelight flickers on the faces of the children, their eyes wide with wonder. Critical stories about Lwanda are always a highlight of these gatherings. One famous tale was of his most heroic battle. The storyteller describes how Lwanda stood alone against a horde of enemies, their spears flashing in the sunlight. The listeners almost see the battle unfold before them. Another story emphasizes Lwanda's wisdom. It tells of a time when he used clever tricks to outsmart a rival tribe, Jolango, saving the village from inevitable defeat. These stories showcase his bravery and intelligence. They paint a picture of a hero who is strong, wise, and kind. Some anecdotes show Luanda's humility. No, sorry. Some anecdotes show Luanda's humanity. One story told of a time when he helped a young boy who had lost his way. Lwanda took the boy by the hand and led him back to his family, his face gentle and kind. Another tale spoke of his humility. Despite his many victories, Lwanda never boasted. He always gave credit to his warriors and to the ancestors who guided him. These stories make Lwanda relatable. They show that even a hero had moments of kindness and humility. Subchapter 5. Tradition of the legend. No. Ouda only. Ouda. Kitimo ni gicha kendo.
Jega hewinje.
Wache gimoro wakau gine. Wakau pose matin.
Yeah. Koro aparo ni keywords are here. Keywords nika from kapok ichako chapter 3. Kodo kadonje chapter 3, but kapok ichako chapter 3, there are very, apparently there are 3 or 4, let me say 4 things I've identified ni Koro community are missing after Lwanda Magere fell. Strategy is number 1. Strategy in terms of leadership, especially of the warriors, and strategy in terms of planning those wars that they used to win all the time. The other thing that is being mentioned about Lwanda Magere is sacrifice. I think this is a key word for a leader. In most of the times, leaders have to sacrifice, and sacrifice more in terms of even your time. Jopo Kamakora leader, sometimes you even have not enough time with your family. When duty calls as a leader, sometimes you are torn between, do I serve the community, my family, what happens there? So that's another thing. Then there's bravery. The guy was brave. As a leader, you have to be brave. Sometimes you have to make
Hello, Jogi Amuan Kawuano, they're on your case. Gamon today, they are with you. Nkech you, pardon, maybe you're muted or something. Nkech I do not. I cannot hear you. The village sideness is flowing into the networks. Hello.
And keywords and key issues that we need to look at. So I just wanted to highlight those because I have questions around them, and also how do we link them? How do we get a bridge to link these good things being said about Rwanda to the current generation? And the other thing that I'm so also very fascinated about the song "Blind" is the song that they sang during when they reunited and were remembering Rwanda. They binded the community together. That's very. Very, very important. So I would Ramadhan in the mbele, and then now my next session will be questions coined around these things in our community. Yes, thank you.
Okay. I don't take the it's just a little, and then the epilogue. This is just the last one, but there's still a bit more. So let me read this, and then we'll go to that song of Lwanda. Tradition of the legend. That is up chapter 5. These traditions are passed down through generations with great care. Parents and grandparents play a crucial role in teaching these tales to the young ones. They would sit by the fire, their voices soft and soothing, as they recounted the adventures of Lwanda. Ceremonial occasions were also important. The stories were retold during festivals and special events, each time with a little more detail. This ensured that the tales remained relevant and alive. The stories adapted to the changing times, adding new elements while keeping the core message intact. The cultural importance of these stories could not be overstated. They were a means of imparting cultural knowledge and wisdom. They taught the values of bravery, sacrifice, and integrity. They helped the villagers understand their history and their identity. The stories also played a crucial role in strengthening the community's bonds. Some people gathered around the fire to listen and felt a sense of unity. They shared the emotions of the tales, feeling pride, sorrow, and joy together. This strengthened the bonds between them, creating a tight-knit community. The continued evolution of the stories ensured their survival. Each generation added its touch, making the tales more prosperous and vibrant. The essence of Luanda's legacy remained, but the stories grew and changed with the times. This evolution kept the stories fresh and engaging. It allowed them to remain a vital part of the village's culture. The tales of Lwanda Magere were more than just stories. They were a living tradition, a testament to the power of oral tradition. The stories continued to flow as the fire crackled and the night grew darker. The villagers listened, their hearts filled with the legacy of Lwanda Magere. They knew that through these stories, his spirit lived on. His bravery, wisdom, and kindness were a part of them. The stories united them, taught them, and inspired them. They were a reminder of the hero who had given everything to protect his people. As long as the stories were told, Lwanda Magere would never be forgotten. Teleduogo. These people are on your cases. Bas. Yeah, I said atieko mano. Idwa penjo gimoro kwa the epilogue kosi?
No, let's just go. We'll discuss. Yeah.
Nikech it is quite pod nitie mang'eny.
No, wherever you stop now. Kakori stopped. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, because this is not really the epilogue, but it's a little bit. Penji the questions, then we can go on. Ask the questions, then we can go on. Tell Oda Iwinja. You're muted. You're muted. Muted, Telo. Auda Podin muted. Before Auda thoughts that on chapter 8, the immortal legend. On a night filled with twinkling stars, the village is quiet, with only the whispers of the wind and the distant hoot of a parrot breaking the silence. In the center of the town, people gather around a small fire. The flames cast a warm glow on their faces as they sit in a circle, eagerly anticipating the elder's words. He begins to speak, and the air seems to thicken with anticipation. He tells the story of Lwanda Magere, the great warrior whose spirit is said to watch over them. Song of Lwanda Magere, the chorus. Lwanda Magere, warrior so brave, strength of a lion, power to save, son of the Luo, the village's pride. In his name, we stand side by side. That is the chorus. From Gotwinam's hill, he was born to fight. In the moon's bright glow, a prophecy's light. Abonyo, his father, a strong warrior. Nyabera, his mother, in wisdom belonged. With every breath, they nurtured his might. In their hands, he learned what was right. Then it's Lwanda Magere, warrior so brave. Strength of a lion, power to save. Son of the Luo, the village's pride. In his name, we stand side by side. O Luo people, sing loud, sing high. For the son who rose to protect and fly. His village stood tall with courage and grace. With Lwanda, no enemy could erase. Through battles, through storms, he held his spear. From valor unmatched, he conquered fear. The bridge. Praise to the tribe that gave him life. Praise to the parents that taught him strife. Praise to the village that sharpened his way. For Lwanda Magere, we sing today. In the chorus. Lwanda Magere, warrior so brave, strength of a lion, power to save. Son of the Luo, the village's pride. In his name, we stand side by side. From the rivers of Nyando to the fields so wide, the story of Lwanda will always continue. In the hearts of the Luo, his spirit will stay. Forever in glory, we'll say, Lwanda Magere, warrior so brave, strength of a lion, power to save, son of the Luo, the village's pride. In his name, we stand side by side. Auda.
JK, iwinja koro?
Kora winji ma clear, nin muted.
Jogi okan, jo engineers okwer koro ling mondi, koro ling weti.
Kawuono ibiro gi juogi ma heve.
My hell there, yeah. But I'm sure ni koran kare. They locked me out and then they said, let's do this thing. Yes, that's fine. Koro
Okay,
winja.
good. Awinji ma clear koro.
Now, Angi, a few reflections. And possibly they'll turn into the questions. Kachako, in the introduction, we had two questions. And one of the key questions was, what remains after the strength is gone? And it's a question that actually we are even asking ourselves now as we speak in our community as Luos. We have a lot of confusion around. We have a lot of conflicting messages from the so-called leaders. And I use the word so-called with a lot of caution because leaders need to lead the community towards a direction. Leaders who come to the community to mourn, to you are, who are you asking for direction? You can't ask for direction from the people you are leading. You need to lead. So the death of Lwanda Magere leaves behind a painful silence in the community, just like the death of Raila Amolo Odinga left it. It may not be as Lwanda. Lwanda was not a politician, but we see so much confusion, especially in the political wing of the Luo nation. I am not worried about the leadership per se of Luo Nation. What is going on in Luo Nation is total directionless in political leadership, in political consciousness in Luo land, because we depended on one person to give the direction. And the greatest legacy is not the warrior himself, but the generation he prepared before he fell. So the question it could be controversial, but it's a question that we need to ask. Were our people prepared politically? I'll mark the word politically, not leadership per se in Lowland. Politically, were they prepared before their political mentor fell? When Lwanda Magere died, the community realized that strength alone is not enough. A people survive when courage becomes culture. When courage becomes culture, it becomes wisdom, and wisdom becomes mentorship. And leadership reproduces itself into the next generation. Did we fall apart on that, on those questions? So I'm asking a few questions as we go. So my first question, if we want to know the greatest legacy is not the warrior himself, but the generation he prepared before he fell. So the question is, politically, does it mean the Luo community was not prepared before the political leader fell, given the current confusion that we have? And I'm saying this because we realize ni kana was chako somo bug Lwanda Magere, we agree there will always be a bridge that we put so that we link up Lwanda Magere, the legend, and Lwanda Magere, the one who is there now. So we are linking these bridges. What lessons do we learn from Lwanda Magere's first legacy? And even when he was alive, what lessons do we learn from him? And that's why I'm connecting these things, because if they lost protection, they lost strategy, they lost courage, they lost unity, and the confidence that his presence once gave them, then what happens to a whole community? Because this leads to the same question. What remains after the strength is gone? We depended on one person. So when Lwanda Magere goes, this is, according to me, my opinion, this is what should have remained. When Raila Amolo Odinga left, this is what should have remained. The wisdom, the system that had been put in place, the values, and people that strength prepared before it disappeared. Did the strength prepare us before it disappeared? Not only us, Lwanda Magere himself, the legend. Did he fail somewhere because he disappeared and everything seems to have disappeared? They lost protection, they lost strategy, they lost courage, they lost unity. And the confidence that his presence once gave, they lost it. We are seeing it happening today. Ramoth, your comment on that, either now or after you finish. But I have a few more reflections. Thanks.
Noka, that part I did not hear all of it completely. Ipenjoni, what was a society prepared?
Yes.
For the parting of
both of them, both Lwanda
Agwambo.
Magere and currently Agwambo, the two guys, Luo men. Was there armies? There was something armies. They didn't prepare people properly before they left, or what? Because we remember their strength, we remember their wisdom, we remember everything, their strategies. But did they leave it? Did they develop a system that when they leave, the wisdom remains? The systems and values remain in place.
Mm.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, let me look for something here that really brought it out. Especially in Lwanda Magere's case, they were pretty ready because there were institutions. There were institutions that were there, and in the way the ritual is done, there's so much of the institution. Institution is seen. The reason why I say this is because if you looked at today's poster, there were drums at the front. There were drums. That was intentional. Trying to see how these designs that are influenced by Luo, how can the people read it when it is speaking. The Luo drum. Let me read this to show you why the ritual is so extensive and they keep doing all this music and this. By saying all this, that the storytellers came in it and the storytellers is saying something important. It shows you this. It says, because you have to understand how the people understand the music, what they're doing. The drum is certainly the most powerful of all sound producers, filling the air, shaking the ground, and reaching up to very far places. It is the brightest signal of human presence, often warning the enemies, but sometimes also inviting people to join the feast and celebrating humanity. Though the drum is perhaps the best weapon in human hands when talking to spiritual matters because of its forceful global approach to a sphere which is vague and moving through the drum, therefore it's perhaps the most vigorous symbol of human presence on earth, the most penetrating expression, direct means of chasing away spiritual matters out of the human territory. The just mentioned ceremony called Po, Kagiwa Gilungen Po, in which Juok, the spiritual, Ochal Kakagi Iriemboganyawawa, in which Juok, the spiritual matter, is spontaneously driven out of the human territory by a lot of human noise, amongst which are drum beatings. Because the expectation, which confirms the rule, against which are drum beatings, being the exception which confirms the rule. Normally, the drum makes only the spiritual background to the self display of humanity, liberating, cleaning the sphere of evil matters, and calling forth the forces inherent in the human identity and to enjoy themselves. So, the first part I read is how they think about the drum. But there's a small point they say here that is very interesting because they separate these drums. The first drum, sorry, let me just read this part. It says, at this instance, it may nevertheless be useful to mention the different types of drums and the various use made of them. The so-called Adola drum is primarily of political significance, a symbol of political authority and power. It takes part in all official ceremonies and accompanies the ruler when traveling. It is in the charge of the Nyikogu, the custodian of the village's political institutions and its various symbols. The Odola drum is normally not used for the big bull dance of the village, but frequently appears as a third drum beside the big drum. The Odola drum is of a medium size, but small enough to be carried when marching. Many villages Many village or dollar drums carry their own personal names, thus can be used to stand for a personality. So it goes on, or the on, but the reason why I say this is because of the question. The ritual is so prolonged because there's so much happening. Again, if you understand the Luo context, there's so much happening. It's just if the author started to write everything, it would become like Kitigi Gitimbegi. It would not be like the story. But the people who are hearing this story continuously live in this environment. So that's why it's being repeated to them. Because in their context, they really understand the story. So yes, these guys were prepared because it was not Lwanda's responsibility to keep all the society in order. Because even in this story, in the historical records, they say there's somebody whose job is to take care of them, of all the political institutions. It is not the so-called leader who does this. There's many designations. Like Ananga has told us, there was a treasurer or minister of finance called Okebe, and there are seven. We will come to this structure of how the Luos ruled, because there was a whole court and how it was governed and how the villages were governed. It was not the same way that people were thinking. It is more like people have confused politics with governance and political parties with governance. So, and they've confused political parties with like the Luo system of governance that has been there for a very long time. So, in terms of the governance, if you look at Lwanda, the system was ready. It was always strong. That's why it has resilience. Sorry, apologies again. The network stuff. So that's why they create a mausoleum. It's out of the resilience, and he tries to say this, out of the resilience, they decide to form a mausoleum to house the idea of Lwanda. It's not just because he's turned into a stone. Now it's the idea. It's the idea of who he is that is being kept, and that is being kept by words. In terms of when it comes to the politics of Luo right now, if you understand the systems, the traditional, not traditional, indigenous governance structure, were very ready. They're very ready, because some of these things, they show, you know, which age you're coming into, and you know when you're transitioning into this, because there's no remember we were talking about the human being and the human person, and a beautiful thing about the human person is his death, because the death of the person is the prolongation of the community. I mean this. I will read something about this, but it is the death of the person is the prolongation of the community. So the community becomes the hero. It becomes where he lives. It becomes an extension of himself. The closest thing I can think of it is when Jesus tells his disciples, "I have to go so that the helper might come." So it is more like, okay, if Lwanda is one, then it becomes the children are always looking at him, and there's only one Lwanda. But if it goes out, then it's like a tree that has been cut, but it is starting to sprout other branches, so it can really spread wide. So in that sense, it's like our politics. What do I call it? Politics. It is what we see now. No? It is what we see now, right in front of us. So when he was going out, it was when Agombo was going out, it was just a chance for more of like 10 of him or 20 of him, because you need more to do the impact that he did, and to push the the community forward, it needs like 10 or 20 of them in every field, in business, in creativity, in that, so that the impact is doubled and tripled and like this. Because of the position where we've, not only him, but our ancestors have left us, we have a tall order to fulfill. We have a very expensive bill, and to be able to pay for that invoice, it needs a lot of effort, and there's this multiplication of effort. Because my personal view of it is, when Agwambo was alive, many people became lazy. So they were more like, he will do the fighting. They don't have to do anything. It is his responsibility. So he will handle everything. If there's an issue, as long as he's there, you don't have to do anything. And now it is people are called to that, what the village was doing. Every generation is being told now. You
Ramon, just quickly, because you've just triggered something. Just a word or two. You've really hit the nail on the head, because I remember during the Change the Constitution campaign, I remember when the draft was distributed, a number of people, quite a number of people, said they're not reading it. So long as Gwamba has read it, what Gwambo says goes. I remember that vividly. So I just remember, I just wanted to remind us that you've just said the truth, that a number of people are very lazy. Raila will do it. Even reading the draft, they said once Raila has read it, that's it. We follow what he says. Yeah, I remember.
and that is super frustrating. Because let's say, put yourself in his shoes. He has read the thing, he understands. But if he wants to discuss the thing with you, you are a very boring audience. You don't know what he's talking about. And that is really not intellectually stimulating. Like, you have no clue. But he wants to discuss it with you. Because sometimes some of these things is when you let's say you're discussing, so let's say he lives in Lwanda, but he's discussing with somebody from Korogocho who understands this, then there's a different perspective added to it. If he's talking with somebody in Lavington who understands this, so he's getting more data. So his decisions are more, when he's going there to represent, his decisions are more informed.
Correct.
Because he's talking to the people. But now you reach these people and they don't read anything. They don't care about anything, as long as you just say. That creates for a very, very not so engaging people. It's not so engaging. It's not as fun as they think. Because sometimes maybe somebody may tell you something that you had not thought about, because you're also just human. And this data really gives you clarity. And you really want clarity as a leader. So I think that is the ones who understood the systems were ready. The ones who did not understand the systems were not ready. Because one time somebody was saying, somebody says, him he believes Raila will live forever. I know this, it seems like a show of trust and faith, but it shows a very great distance from reality. Like, you're very far from reality. Like, this guy has overcome the laws of this space, the cosmos. And like, you become somebody who is not helpful. More like, when we need people who can think about something, who can look at an idea, you are more, I don't know how to say it, you're more superficial. You believe in these impossibilities, like that are totally against the system, and that is very anti-Luo, because Luo is scientific. It's about observing this place and mastering this place. But you want to live how do you say it in plain language? Like, if If you remove it from Luo and bring it in plain language, in Luo, there's these people who are called Okdano. Or if you go to other like in Sudan, they say Podano, meaning he's there, but he's not a human being. He's not tapped into his consciousness, his spirituality. He just is. He just exists in a place where it's between created reality and delusional reality. Like it's not even close to realness. It's between his imagination and it's like a cartoonish world. It's like it's like virtual reality. It's like a virtual reality world where he is and he's moving in the virtual world, but it's not real. It has structures, like it is structured around realness, but it itself, the virtual world itself, is not real. So that is what it is. So sorry to go into all this, but the people who understood the structures, they were ready. The people who did not understand the structures were not ready, and until now they are not ready. They're the ones who are confused. And to make it worse or better, to them the story of Luo started with Agwambo and ended with Agwambo. Like the whole legacy of the 100,000 years of Luo history did not make sense. It was just this 30 years or 20 years. Sorry, Ouda, are you back? Or am I back?
Yeah, no, we are back. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it is that very short-sighted thinking that just the last 5 years or the last 20 years, or it's not even that Luo history is longer than this, and we are hoping it will be here for another 100,000 years. So it's a very, even from a conversational level, it's pretty shallow. Yeah, continue.
Interesting. So you've answered me. You've answered me twofold, and exactly the way it's because you have said it clearly that in times of Lwanda Magere, wisdom remained. Systems and values that had already been channeled to the community remained with the community. And there were people, who had been prepared before Rwanda disappeared. And so that's why the system remained. We are struggling currently because we didn't have, not that we don't have systems, because people are not ready. Some people are not ready to follow through with the values and the systems of Luo. But I'm a very proud Luo. And Sam, I'm gonna tell you in 3 minutes what makes me a proud Luo. And it's connected to this because I wanted to understand that after you answered me that Luanda left a system. And that's why institutions actually were there working. Now, in 1986, a prominent Luo man died. His name was S.M. Otieno. Otieno was a prominent lawyer in Nairobi. Otieno was married to, you people know this story. Some might not know it, but Otieno was married to Wambui Otieno. Then Otieno dies, and Wambui says, Otieno toja Kenya, iko kata Kenya. So Kenya means Nairobi. Otieno iko kata Ngong, Otieno iko Lang'ata. There is a song that Ogwang Lelo sang around that. But the Luos put their foot down and said, never, not in our lifetime. There are a number of Luos, including Kwach Jaugenya, who was the lawyer for the family. But I'm not going to tell you about Kwach. I'm going to tell you about an elder who knew what systems and values are, Luo systems and Luo values are. And so one afternoon in the courtroom, the court went silent when a simple word could not be fathomed, but a Luo elder stood firm and described what a home meant. A home to him were values. It was the epitome of Luo community. And a home had to be respected. And he said, not money, not politics, and not inheritance. Just the difference between a house and a home. And the lawyer who was grilling him was the dreaded John Kaminwa. You know him, he's still alive. Is it 93 or 83? I'm confusing the ages. He's either 83 or 93, but still very strong and goes into court still yet up to now. And so Kaminwa asked calmly, he's asking an elder called Omolo Seranga. So he asked, you went to Otieno's home in Langata. Seranga did not even blink. Not a home, a house. The court laughed nervously, but he was serious. Siranga explained that he had visited Otieno and his wife, Wamboy Otieno, in Nairobi. They slaughtered a sheep for the visitors. They hosted well. The building was beautiful. Still to him, it was only a house. Haminwa pushed harder. So what is a home according to Luo customs? That answer would echo across Kenya for decades. Siranga described something many urban people around the world rarely think about anymore. A home, in Luo tradition, was simply walls, furniture, a seat, or a city address. A home in Luo tradition was not simply walls, furniture, or a city address. It was ancestral ground, the place where your father or uncle showed you where your life would continue after them. You arrived there with your wife and first son. Your son built a small Simba hut nearby. Then and only then, it became a home. Not rented place, not status, not architecture. Belonging. That was the heart of famous Otieno burials dispute that divided modern law and African customary law. And that is why the exchange still haunts people today from Nairobi to New York, from Toronto to Sydney. Because modern life teaches people that success is mobility, big apartment, better neighborhood, new passport. But many cultures, especially across Africa, still ask the question, where do your roots where do your roots sleep? There's something deeply human in that tension. A man can own property in the richest part of the city and still be told in front of judges and reporters, that is not your home. Years later, people still remember the legal arguments. It's only Omolo Seranga who understood the systems and the values of Luo that are surviving history to date. He told us to have homes, not houses. And honestly, many people today are still trying to figure out the differences. Ramoth, that's what I describe as stewardship of the customs by elders. They stood their ground in front of a court of law, and he described what a home is. Not because he liked it, but because it is what his fathers taught him. It is what the Luos believe in. And at the end of it, with the money, with the best lawyer during that time, Otieno's body was taken to Alego and buried in Yalgunga. Thank you, Rama.
And if the elders seem stupid, they should just ask Tuju what happened recently. What was all that about a house being this and that and it being taken away? And it's a billion something house. So it's interesting. It's really interesting how these things come around. There's a very George, the story you gave is it's very important. and not only because of the court case. It is this thing that I'm trying to show is like the story is written and the elders are speaking, but they're speaking to you about a world. They're talking to you about a world that if you're not careful, you won't see it. You'll think it's a discussion. That's why sometimes I try to just read on them back part so you see. Now, this guy is not just talking. There's a whole world they see and they understand. And it is structured and it's together. It's really together. So sometimes when they're talking about this, it becomes it's really interesting. When I was looking for a part that speaks about that part, there's a part about something called obur, which comes from buru, obur, which is the first ones to the land. The first ones to the land, the first ones to a certain land, who have to make, because the earth is alive. So there's the first ones to the land who have to make a covenant with the land. And those ones are always consulted when something has to be done with that land, because they're the ones who have made the deal with the land to take care of it. It was something that was there for a long time. And the ones who are in court, these people are called, like the ones who was the Nyikogu and the Nyibur, who keep the holders of the space. So these were the people I'm saying, they were institutional knowledge and how this thing was attached. So I will look at it and then read something about it. It's very interesting. That's why I'm saying, if you understand this, then these guys were not confused. The people who understood the structure, they were not confused when these things happened. When Lwanda died and when Raila died, the institutions still there. It's us who are educated out of seeing it. Because and let me just say this, because sometimes when I say this, there are groups who get angry. Education by itself is choosing your ignorance. Modern education is choosing your ignorance. If you become a doctor, you will have to ignore all other things. Being a lawyer, being a pilot, you'll ignore all these other things. If you become a pilot, you will have to ignore being a doctor and all these other things. It's called choice, but you're ignoring all these other things. So at the core of education is choosing what you will take and all the things you will ignore. So sometimes when you tell them this, when you tell them, okay, you think because you've chosen this, now you understand everything. Or if you have not chosen anything, I mean, even the people who don't go to higher education or something, even not going is a choice. Like they have chosen, say it's a circumstances or whatever, but they're under a certain choice. Not choosing is a choice. Not having the capacity to choose is still a choice. It doesn't make sense because majority of the people try to deny that the world is run on power. So not choosing is a choice. So you find the modern system you're in is about choosing your ignorance. So there's a whole system that if you are choosing this way of looking at life, there's a whole system that you have to ignore. There's a whole science you have to ignore. And this the other day we were saying, but they give you a fake world. Sons of Juogi, meaning Juogi, and this that it is that the other world is only about night runners and and people who throw nawi and people who just do witchcraft. Let me call it the world of witchcraft. So there's the world of witchcraft and modernity. And there's this whole, leave these two cartoonish ones, there's this whole structure that has been there for a very long time, that has been keeping the culture. Mose bedoka keep the culture kochung kendo kotegno. So, he understand Mago. Luo has produced thousands of strong, important leaders. And it is foreseeable in the future, Obotimo Guinea, because there's a science to it, and Luo has mastered that science. So what do you do? If you master the science of creating cars, Ibotim Nandi now, you just create better cars. So what do you do? It's okay. It's on jogging, focus on just for small time, like the last 40 years or something like this. You forget the legacy of kings, the legacy of leaders. Because even after Lwanda, there was still Gore, and there were so many more leaders. Ntie moro be mani luongo ni Gwada. He's never really spoken of in Luo, but he luongo ni Gwada. And the thing that was interesting about Gwada, his strategic thinking and execution was top notch, and he would do it very quick. Very quick, but his execution and his strategy was top notch. So there have been many of this. And then we live in a media world, so Ibokel, like I said, the Lwanda Lokrea script. It is not a strategy.
Ramos kikwil gilala kabanda bwana mano kwa.
Ntie many. But you don't want to focus on just either in Lwanda or a Gwambo. I mean, it's no Mangatungisi. There will never be any of these leaders again, even like Gwambo. You forget he comes from Luo, and Luo is existing. If that is not it, if it is just his own personal characteristic, one like Erego Maro Jolang, Erego Maraband, or Masemeji, or whatever Kakibo watch, Erego Marjomoko. Okay, 142 tribes in Kenya, or 45, or maybe 150 san. Erego make Gimoko Gomo Anyaloneno. It is the soil mano produce ngani. I know you cannot forget. Bel mogo gine lo mogo lo bel ni be imioga importance. Oko bel kende. Yamumi joma understand puro no, organic farming no. Okipur the plants, ipuro the soil. Imio the soil health, obo produce plants ma healthy. Okini yolo manure, ama yolo whatever. Kikmano punjo ya agriculture gi. Market the soil, but make plants more and healthy, makelo tuoche. Time kamano. So one wakao that mentality mwaketo nyake siasa ni gikumoko en ngani kende. The soil is useless. Ka the soil is useless, ang'o miyo nen following joma ne miye boost nen jowa mokwongo. Achoga gini kendo. Jowa chieng' moro bo realize ni kuma gikete attention ema important ka. Emiyo wachoga ni gini the message. Gini the strength. Ka giketo focus on Gini, on Gore obet gimoro. Ka giketo focus on ODM obet gimoro. Ka giketo focus on Fodasili obet gimoro. Ka giketo focus on NAK obet gimoro. Kuma gikete Gini the thing. O gik mimiwago. Ka giketo itok ngani ochung'. Kane giketo itok Ramogi ochung'. Kane giketo itok Mbowe to chung'. Ginie gino. Ok ng'a mochung' mbele gino. Ma ignorance mawacho ni ma ipuoji gik moko backward. Ng'acha ema important unulu. Ng'acha en kanyo nikech un. Maonge un onge tich. So wan wabonyiso unie message. Wan mana messengers. Wan mana privilege ma represent ku. But unie message, unie everything. Unie Kidi, unie Lwanda. Telo in gi gimo midwa wacho.
Ok ang'eyo ni idwa endelea gi somo koso.
En kama tin sana. Ni wacho ni in questions moko.
Okay, questions. He said woko ariyo motegno man gogo nikech he said woka, and I'm happy ni kaka wakele kae to kode. What made me actually mada some story was because it really blended well with what we are doing today. Nikeche, there has to be people who still understand. Need the systems are there. Somebody might have fallen. Ramoth, ewinja kosa.
An mana alwar. Rawinji.
Oh, sorry. So awacho ni iduoka maber. And I wanted to give me a highlight story mar SM Otieno no. And especially the elder Omolo Siranga. And nikeche these people, the Luos still, and especially the elders still know that it doesn't matter who is gone to rest, because people must go to rest. Ogenga mokto, jidibro dite. But what remains is what is important. And that is the system that has been left and the institutions that has been left in place. And so Ramoth, mine is always to connect. Nito Lwanda, Magere, and even now recently, our current Lwanda Magere who just left us. They have left, yes, but they have left system.
Awinji. Tela duogo ni ana lal.
It is
Dhi mbele.
only upon us to look deeper and closer about a whole system. Now, we are here, Ramoth. We are here in this digital world with the current generation. And today's young people are going up in a world of digital pressure, identity confusion, isolation, broken mentorship, quick success culture, emotional struggle. And now we, the Nyandos of now, are asking the same question that people asked after Lwanda's death. But ours is a bit different, Ramon. Who protects the future now? Who protects the future now? What should remain after us? Us as mentors, parents, elders, and cultural custodians. We may ask, have we only displayed strength, or have we transferred that wisdom? Because real legacy should not be fame, fear, or power as it is now. But real legacy, my fellow cultural defenders of our Luo community, is prepared minds, responsible character, cultural grounding, emotional resilience, and most importantly, strategic thinking. So, what do we teach our young people today as we mentor them into the future? That remains the question now. Because Luanda defended the community physically. Today's generation cannot defend the community physically. It's no longer needed. What should they defend? My cultural champions with me tonight, I tell you, The current generation must defend the truth. They must defend family. They must defend their mental health. They must defend
Telano kawinji. Ilal. Ilal. Kawinji. Okay. The network today, as we are getting to that point why it is interesting. The network today has been really very interesting. So let me read the next two, and then when Auda comes back. Auda, the network today has been atrocious.
I know. I don't know where Kakia Kama Lale, because I was speaking.
Yeah, you are talking about the truth. The last word I had was truth.
Oh yes. So
And resilience.
Oh yes. So yeah. So I was just saying that we must teach to our young Lwandas now to become builders, not only fighters, because Rwanda defended the community physically. Today's generation must defend. They can't defend. We don't need them to defend us physically. It's no longer tenable. The constitution and the system currently have got police and the armed forces in place to do that. So the only way that they can defend us is they must defend the truth. They must defend family. They must defend their mental health and the mental health of the people around them. They must defend culture, integrity, and lastly, community unity. But as they defend this, because Luanda defended the community physically using this a spear, and we remember was even given a golden spear. So our people now, our young people now, what do they use as their weapons? Knowledge, discipline, wisdom, and lastly, they must use they must use technology very, very responsibly. So that's what I was trying to pass in as we mentor the current Rwandans, and also we become the current us here, and the parents who are with us tonight in this episode, the parents, the uncles, the church leaders, the mosque leaders, the everybody else. You are called upon to be the mentors of today. You shouldn't sleep on the job, because these young men must be taught now that it is no longer physical fight. It has the world has changed. The only thing
Wow. But we trod on. Do is our business, we trod on. Every time interruptions come, we are absolutely uncompromising. We don't give up. That is what we learned from the Lwanda story. So even if the network falls 1,000,000 times, 3,000,000 times, 4,000,000 times, we will still keep treading on. That is who we are. That is what we learned from our ancestors, and we'll keep going even in the digital age. I had talked a little about Bur, this Nibur, Obur, these terms. So I want to read something. The first settlers, like now we are talking about legal. Now we are becoming legal in terms of indigenous legal systems of land, and this understanding of the legal system of land in Luo. The first settlers, ownership. Bur in Luo means mound or elevated place, or or soil or the ground or earth. Mounds which seem like those beloved of archaeologists in the Middle East to have been built up out of the rubbish left by many generations. Now this is somebody, Maya, talking about what he had observed. So it's an account of what Maya had said, and then he comes back to the point on which the Luo villages are placed for preventing floods to swell away their huts. So saying that the Luos had this idea of you make your architectural institutions, you make them on mounds. This is what he's saying is bur, where it's a bit raised. That you see, like the colonial system really worked on this. To swell away their huts, so that they prevent floods from to swell away their huts. Bura is a clear reference to the first term having the very specific meaning of the social political center of a village, Bura. Because Bura comes from Bur, from that mound. So it is the center of Bura, is the center of Bur, of the idea of Bur, of how you construct your place. But it has a legal connotation in indigenous law. Not traditional, but indigenous. So actually, is the center of the village, the place where the chief's court with the adjacent dancing place is found. So near the chief's court is the dancing place for the village. This place, in the Lwanda story, they were gathering here. They were having rituals here in this spot. So it is near the chief's home. And it says, near the chief's, not the home, but the chief's, it says the chief's court, the chief's court. The term Jobur means literally the people of the mound or the site, the people of the site. The site, and stands for the settlers. Its singular is Obur, the son or the descendants of the mound or the site. All these terms have their particular significance and stand for a social function. For the Jobur, the first settlers are, at least theoretically, not only the descendants of the people who first settled at a particular place, but even the owners of that site. So whenever new people arrive, they could only settle with permission of those original settlers or their descendants. In this case, the land belonged to that lineage, and respectively to the deeder of it, the chief or the Kwaro. This is where the word Kwaro comes from. But he goes on and says, I jump a few because he goes into some of the legality and then says, but even in villages where the chief is of the same lineage as the Obur being representative of the site, the chief might have political and speak legal power about the land, but the spiritual power might yet remain in the hands of a different person. So the spiritual power of the site, by spiritual power, they don't mean like the way Christianity says. I have to repeat this. They mean the bond and the connection of taking care of that place. And we are talking about making sure that the cultivation of the soil is healthy, that things are done in the right way, that it does not affect the soil. That is the Obur, and he has more authority over that space than the king or the chief, the Kwaro. So this is what I was saying. If you understand the systems, and even what is happening to Lwanda and the mausoleum and making this, it's really talking in layers. It's really talking in layers. So that is there. Let me finish up the last parts, and then you can ask Ouda Inyalo Biro with some more questions. It says 8.1 is the eternal spirit. Many villagers believe that Lwanda's spirit still protects them. They say his spirit is strong and always watching. Some villagers claim to have felt his presence. A young mother saw a shadowy figure stand by her door one night. She knew it was Lwanda, keeping watch over her family. Another villager heard Lwanda's voice during a storm, guiding him safely home. These stories are shared often, reminding everyone that Lwanda's spirit is always near. The Festival of Heroes. The Luo people gather for a yearly special event called the Festival of Heroes. This festival honors Lwanda Magere and other legendary figures. The origin of the festival traces back to the days when the first stories of Lwanda Magere were told. The elders decided to create an annual celebration to keep his memory alive. The festival holds great significance in Luo culture, serving as a time for the community to unite, celebrate their heritage, and remember their heroes. It is a time when the community comes together to honor the values of bravery, strength, and unity that Lwanda embodied and passed them on to the next generation. The festival is filled with various activities and events. Traditional dances and music performances are a highlight. The villagers dress in colorful attire and dance to the beat of drums. Their movements tell stories of past battles and victories. Music fills the air, creating an atmosphere of joy and celebration. One of the most exciting parts of the festival is the reenactments of Lwanda's legendary battles. Skilled performers dressed in traditional warrior attire recreate scenes from his life. They show his bravery in combat, clever strategies, engaging the audience with their dramatic performances. These reenactments bring the stories to life, making them vivid and natural for everyone watching. The Epilogus. No, I don't think it's called Epilogus. That is just Luo broken Latin or something. Lwanda Magere's story is a journey of bravery, strength, and determination. From his birth under a bright star to his final heroic stand, Lwanda showed what it means to be a true hero. His life was entirely of challenges. He faced enemies, both outside and within his village. Yet he stood tall, robust, and always protecting his people. Throughout this book, we see Lwanda's early signs of greatness. As a child, he showed courage by saving his people, his friends, and lifting heavy stones. His father and mentor guided him, teaching him wisdom and combat skills. Lwanda's first test of courage came when he faced a lion threatening the village. He defended it with his intelligence and bravery. This earned him the community's trust. Throughout this book, we see Lwanda's early signs of greatness. Lwanda grew. As Lwanda grew, he took on more significant challenges. He led his warriors into battle and defended his village against fierce enemies. His strategic mind and fearless heart made him a great leader. Even when faced with betrayal and danger, Lwanda stayed faithful to his duty. He sought guidance from the oracle, the spirit guide, which held significant spiritual importance in his life. Their counsel and the strength he gained from his ancestors were crucial in his journey. Lwanda's story didn't end with his death. His spirit lives on in the hearts of the Luo people, a community deeply rooted in their traditions and history. They remember him through stories, songs, ceremonies, and integral to their cultural heritage. Each year, they hold the Festival of Heroes to honor his legacy, a testament to the enduring impact of his bravery. Children learn about his courage and draw inspiration from his deeds. The village passes down his story from generation to generation, ensuring that his legacy remains alive and vibrant. From Lwanda's life, we learn important lessons. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is the strength to face it. True strength comes from within and is shown by helping others. Loyalty and friendship are fundamental values. Lwanda never hesitated to protect his friends and community. His story teaches us that being a hero means standing up for what is right and caring for those around you. Now, it's time for you to take action. Reflect on the lessons from Lwanda's story and consider how to apply them in your life. How you can show bravery in your life. Can you stand up for a friend in need? Can you help someone who is struggling? Remember, bravery and strength come in many forms. You don't need to fight battles to be a hero. Small acts of kindness and courage make a big difference. There's more, but it's just about family and all this. So, Ouda Wonle.
JK, iwinja?
I can hear you, Sane. What's now?
There is something very interesting.
Timro Kawinji. Gitimoni Gicha. Gitimoni that thing.
Round.
Edogo, okay. Okwawiche anything you said before. Inyalo chako kendo.
Hey, this network today. Yeah, so I was saying, iwinja koro.
Awinji koro.
Yeah, I was saying ni as you read Rwanda Magere, it resonates with me in two most important ways. I pick what resonates with us as a community that makes us a very proud people. And currently, we are always proud when other people look at us, at our culture, look at our lifestyle, and says, "I want to be a Luo in my next life." We have things that we need to be celebrating. And you've just mentioned something that has triggered me. And I've been quickly, in my mind, I'm quickly wondering, why is the Jewish Passover culture so widespread? You know, because the Jewish Passover, especially for people who are religious and know it. And then we have got the Festival of Heroes, which is a Luo, which is among the Luo. It's remembrance of the heroes and often centers around oral storytelling, songs, community gatherings, lineage memory, praise of bravery, sacrifice, and protection of the people. It goes back to bravery, sacrifice, and protection, things that Lwanda Magere did. And so, the legendary elders and warriors who became symbol of courage, community defense, cultural continuity, collective identity, are we forgetting them? And when we are forgetting them, and I know we would quickly grasp Passover, all of us, and then we ask ourselves the question I've been asking myself is why? Passover seems
Hello in Kenya. In Kenya telo. Network is completely. Kawuono is completely out. Completely out.
Ramoth, my network is bad, so
Today.
it's bad. So I think I need to just give my last comment on this because otherwise it's bad. Kapo di winje.
Awinji.
Yeah, so I have when you mentioned the the festival of heroes, something pricked me so much because we've heard very little about the festival of heroes currently, but
Mm,
we've heard so much about Passover. Everybody might pick up when we say Passover. Oh, it's Passover, but
mm,
that's a Jewish celebration. What about our festival of heroes? And so I'm challenging myself that it is our time. It is our time. It is the time of Ramogi Cultural Institution for Low Heritage Research and Education to start bringing our people together to celebrate the festival of heroes. Um, and we are not pointing fingers at anyone, because I know that as much as we might be thinking too much about Passover, and nobody might know, not so many people might know about the festival of the heroes. African traditions, and especially our Luo culture, is quite meaningful to us. It preserves our identity, morality, social cohesion, and intergenerational wisdom. And so we can't say it's less important. Uh, and finally, Ramoth, I would say that colonialism changed our cultural visibility so much, especially, European colonialism in Africa, because African ceremonies were often discouraged or suppressed. European religious traditions were institutionalized through schools, churches, and governance, and over time, many Africans.
mm. Network today, although they have refused. They have refused. Mm. They have refused. As you come back, when you come back, this last part, this last part. Yeah, George, they are on your case today, like they were on my case the other time. But we
I
keep
think
going. We keep going.
I think it's because I mentioned I touched European colonialism in Africa, which changed our
Mm,
cultural visibility, and they made our African ceremonies. They either discouraged or suppressed them. And then the European religious traditions were they institutionalized them through schools, churches, and governance. And then now, many African learned biblical history very deeply. Oh, they know it. They know the stories about Sarah and everybody else. We pray the God of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac. But me, when I say God of Ouda, Ojo, and Okegomolo, and I'm asked who are those, and I say they are my ancestors, and then I get demonized. But the one who is saying God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, those ones are not demonized. They are the best. I don't know.
you,
And
you,
so,
although your ancestors do not come from Arabia or Europe or
exactly. So that's why.
it's
That's why
problematic.
when I say gods of the gods of Ouda, Ojo, and Okegomolo, and I'm told, you are a demon.
They have to come
Anyway,
from they have to come from the desert or something to count. If they come from like Victoria is
yes.
Namlolo, it becomes a problem.
Yeah, but Ramoth, I think I'm gonna actually finish here because of my network. But I am I really resonate with the Lwanda Magere story. It is not just a story. It has really opened up a lot. Possibly my eyes have been opened more about uh, tradition. But I need to tell us that we do. How do we, the question that I leave ourselves with? How do we preserve African culture? cultural memory in a globalized world without losing openness to other.
And what I had was without losing openness. And we'll come to that question. For me, it's very interesting what he says here. Now it's time for you to take action. Reflect on the lessons from Lwanda's story and consider how to apply them in your life. How can you show bravery in your life? Can you stand up for a friend in need? Can you help someone who is struggling? Remember, bravery and strength come in many forms. You don't need to fight battles to be a hero. Small acts of kindness and courage make a big difference. So, to me, my question, Auda, and you come, okay. Auda, I think you'll just still have to struggle with this network because I had a question. He was saying all this about how you can show bravery in your life, or you can stand up for a friend in need, how you can help someone who is struggling. I'm wondering why this, because me, I'm not buying this. Let me say the truth, because it's like, can you stand up for a friend in need? Up to what extent? Because some of these people we call friends, they're just exploitive, and they keep coming back to you, and then they feel like if you don't help them, it is their right for you to help them. Like you must help them for some reason. Or saying, can you help someone who is struggling? So I'm wondering, what if the person is struggling because of his own stupid decisions? Or because he refuses to learn? Do I still have to play Lwanda and save him from his own nonsense? No. No, you dropped again. You dropped again.
Ramat, I think the institutions are the best way to help people. That have been put in place by go back to the story. Omolo Serapa didn't go there as a person. He went to that court with the community, and the tradition is his mind, and that's why he won the case. So we can't be helping people, number one, who are doing things out of stupidity. And also, you can't pull people out of issues people are not trying to pull themselves out also. So for me, I am for rising up with the community. Whoever is part of the community and becomes stupid and wants to remain behind, so be it.
Because he says, as we conclude this journey, remember Lwanda as a beacon of hope and courage. So that is where his life reminds us that we all have the strength to overcome challenges. I'm really wondering if this is the lesson I got from this. Because the question I wanted to ask you, Lwanda, was not Lwanda, Ouda only. Was Lwanda really a hero, to be honest? Like, not to be honest, but just to think about it. Was he really a hero? Was he really a leader? Was he really a strategist? Was he really a warrior? If you look at the story. Because I usually, no. If you can answer, you just tell me what you think. Was he really any of these things? No, they've dropped you again. Today they're on your case. Yeah, that's what I really wanted to look at. And in the next sessions, I would prefer to look at Lwanda again from this perspective. If he was a leader, then why is that? And if he was a hero, why is that? And if he was a warrior, how is that expressed?
Ramath, at some point, perhaps Lwanda Magere might have been a great hero to his people because he embodied the courage, the protection they needed. But every community creates heroes that reflect its struggles, fears, hopes, and values. The best hero is not the only one who fights bravery, but the one who leaves behind wisdom, systems, and people capable of surviving after them. I think one moment that destroyed Luanda's legacy, and I still go back to what I said that day, because I still think, as much as the institutions was already, the institutions were there, I still think that the community generally slept at some point. We are fighting with an enemy. The girl from that enemy visits us, is amongst us, and with the hero. The girl from that community we are fighting, and nobody raises a finger because we fear Lwanda Magere is the hero. At that point, his heroism was overrated. He messed up. Actually, that is where the downfall came. So, at some point, his heroism went flat, zero, because he messed up the whole system. He messed up the whole community. Yes, I'm sure that he was forgiven and all that. But was he really a hero? Is still a question that needs to be probed further. He might have been a hero, but he had got his hiccups. He had got his weaknesses and all that. But I think he messed up big time by eloping with an enemy, or a girl from the enemies they were fighting with. So his heroism has got some.
Mm. Yeah, complete network issues. Yeah, but we will still go on. We don't give up that easily. Resilience, because that is a question, because it has become from observation, it has become a script. It has become this story has become a script that you run on the people, and then they can never seem to get it together, and they just reach the mouth of victory, and then the person has to self-sabotage. The person just has to self-sabotage. The person has to self-sabotage. So even in Lua, I see it a lot. Like even in Africa, it's a lot. It's a famous script. Like the person can go up to the door of greatness, and then they have to self-sabotage. I think being that how it happened is just a way to really try and express it so that it is visible, because they keep saying that the stories were more detail was kept adding onto the story, but the core of the story was the same. So sometimes I wonder if it was a story of warning, if it was a warning story, but when the colonial system came, they saw that it would be a good story to run a script. Where I give another example. One time, if you watch most of these movies, especially the action movies, one that came to mind when I was young was something like First Blood, John Rambo and Sylvester Stallone. And the First Blood, he's more like a psychopath, because he kills so many people and he's the hero. He killed so many people and he's the hero. So I'm wondering if it is one of those scripts where you you worship the thing that would self-sabotage. We raise you to we give you figures that will make the script work on you, so it will self-sabotage. It will the script keeps replicating itself. So even if you look at the news, you see all this. Okay, this great Luo men who are scholars, but they keep always finding their death around some, not really their wives, but some other lady around. So I was wondering, how come this script keeps just working by itself? It's not the bravery and all these things. It's always like, okay, but at the end of the day, he was a master IT, blah, 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 but this is where it went. So it's an interesting script, because in again, we are dominated by words, and words, the way they are formed into stories. And then the story takes over, and when the story takes over completely, it rewires the consciousness, because the consciousness, we said there were 3 parts, but there was the part of the content. So if the person is rewiring the content, it rewires how you operate, because it really affects how you think and how you execute things. So for me, it was a bit interesting as a thing to go back and look at it from those perspectives. If a hero, then how? If an anti-hero, then how? If a strategist, then how? A strategy, then how? If a anti-strategist or a non-strategist, or whatever English word they would use, how? If a warrior, how? If more a brute than a warrior, how? And how that plays out in the scripts we run in our mind. Because when I say the battle is not outside, but now it has come inside. It has really come inside, and sometimes it reaches a place like in the Lwanda story where the enemy has not been the ones out there. The enemy has been the one sitting here, saying it is you, getting addicted to the praise. So it's just waiting for the day. It's waiting for that day when you will, when you'll think you've reached the pinnacle, when you think you've reached that part where everybody agrees with what you say and everybody thinks you are the cleverest. And when you're there, everybody will be protected, right? But there's still, at the core of you, it's not you. It's a script running. That's why I was asking this last part. Like, it's telling you about this niceness and helping people and all this. To me, it's more like the manifestation of the script. So I'm really wondering, because this has been really an interesting, to me, has been an interesting view into how the script is formed, how it is put, how it is instilled, how it works, and how it is strengthened. It's been a very interesting journey, and it would be so interesting to look and then look back at other Luo stories around Lwanda Magere. Now, if we leave, okay, there's the hero, but there's now what they have told us in the last part. The story kept being embellished and turned and this, to the point where it becomes a script. And where, because if Joe Gibo Duoko consciousness margi, to nyaka gi understand ntie tuoche mek consciousness be. And Bugni is a very interesting example of seeing kaka tuo ni biro, kaka obedo develop kisoye, obedo strengthened. Maka ng'ato timo gimoro, oparo notimo gima ber, but at the end, dhi kalo kode. Nikech the moment miwuondri, iparo ni riek. The moment miparo ni ing'e gima timre, to ionge idea gima timre. Gik moko te miboneno bo medo confuse. So, bo medo confuse. Oude iduogo mondo kawuono bochuno ne at least walore. Kawuono bochuno walore chon matin nikech network to tamre, but en time wacha nikech chiegni chopo sa madhi. Auda.
Yes, Ramath.
Wang'ise joge erokamano. Wang'ise joge erokamano nikech sani oyware to oyware kapok an kata wanda nodhi nade.
Yeah, sawa odhi. Sawa osedhi. Wede next one.
Odhi sana.
Odhi.
Odhi sana.
Nikech aparo ni ang'iyo time ma Kenya wacho ni na beach gi nus 1 past. Yeah.
Ochiegni
sa auchiel. Some places pod en 2 hours earlier. So aparo ni oyware. Aparo no oromo Ramoth. En mana gone gi erokamano kuom always bedo kodwa ka. To aparo ni kapod iwinjo mapiyo en mana ni Stoch Lwanda Magere ni I also have a number of questions as it ends. But aparo ni we have to we honor his legacy as a warrior. We honor his courage, his strength, sacrifice. He protected his people and inspired generations. Yet his story also leaves us with an important caution. And my caution in this story is great strength without wisdom and discernment can expose even the mightiest leader to downfall. In opening his heart carelessly within the enemy camp, Lwanda teaches us that leadership requires not only courage in battle, but also discipline, emotional wisdom, and awareness of the consequences our personal choices can have on an entire community. May we therefore raise a generation that is not only strong, but also wise, not only fearless, but also thoughtful, not only heroic in action, but responsible in character. For true leadership is not merely about defeating enemies. It is about protecting the future of the people. That was Lwanda's mission, protecting the future of his people. He messed up a bit, but we celebrate him regardless. Thank you. Ramath gone jogi oriti nikech network na brolal. Lore Ramath.
George nadwa lore to giyuda. Habe giyuda. Erokamano sana for bedo kodwa ka. And anyalo the next one before we go to the other stories of Lwanda Magere and see bits and pieces. Because I still insist it is really a script. It is a script that is run on one. It would be interesting to look at other versions of this so we see how the script is formed. To created together and how it was implanted. Ago ni erokamano kuom bet kodwa ka. Sao yuare to erokamano. And next time about him retrospective. Now is open more questions about and go into the story even deeper levels. The things in the story is teaching us that are not explicitly said because there are structures and systems and which are not occurred in the front line of the story, but would be very interesting to see. And there's some tidbits, but there's a whole world Magi way about behind that event or that action or that spot or that place where he was sitting. So the story of Lwanda Oken just about from the hero. Odwarange more as the story of the society and the civilization that produces him, and the clues one from this one or other versions of this of Lwanda Magere, and how it shows us the structure of our society and Kakochung. So hopefully you join us for, not hopefully, you join us for that as we look at it together. And in case you have any questions, anything, Ramogi mail at gmail.com is there. You can send the queries, questions, feedback, input, questions, everything that we'll tackle as we go on, and have even wider perspectives, because we really, the aim of this this particular part is to look at the stories so that like forensic archaeologists or something like this, where we look at what we are seeing and what the words and the rhythms and the stories are telling us about the wider community, and how it's what is happening to it without it telling what is happening to it, because behind the story is always the whole system, is the whole civilizational system of Luo, and we'd really like to be better at picking it and bringing it to the front, like just the way we were reading Oripakid, and it was showing us the systemic thinking that was instituted there, and those type, and it will be interesting. So, like I saw somebody say the book is read twice or 3 or 4 times, but I don't know if people will have the wherewithal to withstand that. But let's see other Lwanda Magere versions and stories. And with that, I thank Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education for giving us this opportunity to have this time. I give thanks to the Nyikwa Ramogi or bet with us and giving us patience and being so patient and holding us through this process as we do this, even as we have technical difficulties and all this. But that is life and living. But we are resilient and a bit hard-headed like Lwanda. We keep on trudging on. So thank you so much, and join us next time for this beautiful moment that we always have with you as we look into the lessons our ancestors have left us through the stories, through the proverbs, through the sayings, through their life experiences, through their patterns, their designs, their artifacts, and their own experience of this interesting scientific thought system structure called Luo. Have a wonderful evening and a very, very beautiful week. Thank you. Because George, you don't take it in any other way.
No, Ramoth, itieke maber. En mana ni wagoyo erokamano ahinya ne Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education. Kik we wil kodgi, wamor kodu, watimonu erokamano. Jogo mohero, an mara matiyogo Ramoth en mana paro negi. Jogo mohero dhi luwo gal kiny wan e pap. Dhi luwo gal kiny ni e pap. Erouru kamano, Nyasaye otelnu.
nyarwagasi Utedo ringalia makachamu ne polisi mwea Magumba pepe dungalia Abasi weditanda Abasi weditanda Koyo pinogite ni diregi yormon mabeo Kano kauna bunde mono pepe kalo minobonyo Bunde koro dirituko Magumba pepe minobonyo Abasi weditanda Abasi weditanda Kamanina mero rongo minobonyo Ukono ka ungware monoko wanyakadala na Magomba pepe atamora Niguare zigo yape Diya kiyor minokiro musiebna Gimala de nyingi rete nyaka diya liwaya Usiebna gimala noka na beri nyako pepe kale Magomba hato do nyuoma Kagwana lehogo Udongo minubonyo Donge yormon mabe Dungi wabuda mabe Wanigide ni wode moa Yogu molo budoga Wanigide ni wode moa Yogu molo budoga Tapi apengi budoga
Anti baba
Uwele wa ubiwa Mulu soja budoya Jipna wa budo mabe Ya oda bedo nyako Ko ato no nyuoma Usaki la bedo nyako Ko ugoto nyuoma Donge wa erore Karimoni nyolo chuo Negi nyolo keugo koyo Unimoni nyolo chuo Yawa mami abunde Ochale mami adako Politi penja Ugambo penja Tungu penja Udongo minobonyo Pepe mama da pelo Moro riwoge api Buda biro kano kanye Yugu ikone Udongo minobonyo Pepe yormon mabe Dango da beru nyako Wato no nyuma Ubudo mino kelo Tume marano Cool me sinite ndo. Me and you together will go. We do in the do mpaka kwenye roho. Wale makayombe moshe.
Mia kunji.
Pepe liboki na bitu mon friends. Okukuti gondi mana zambi. Chala zambi na komo no kwenye bitu mosusi liboki te. Para bebe kale sadero makomo warugo bonyo bena wetana kama sama paro chiga kaparo sadero makomo yurmo bena wetana kama ne wapuro ke luoto bebe kale makeshi rumo wapigi nyorgo yugijura bena wetana kama ne wadoyo ke luoto bebe kale makeshi rumo wapigi nyorgo yugijura bena wetana Jenny, I love you so much. Jenny, I need you, my wife. much. Jenny, I need you so much. Jenny, I miss you too much. Magoma can't up in your minute in your moon. Magoma, Otina loka no jagotum. Otina loko chakotum. Mamonu mi loko da wai amojonya. Alo mato jonya isia ya lego. Kijande masani olokore. Kijande masani olokore. Gimado kangara koda chupa koda busa. Kodoke pacho. Kendoro done minu kachiege. Nyako maworo dongeot. To nyako maworo dongeot. Oringo koko me koda pimo mede dakuon. Ya iwono dakuon oduogo chich. Woi mataro ninde par. Woi mataro ninde par. Manyiri nyero te makuoro. Alo mato kuoro piere tar. Woi rabondo to endara. Woi rabondo to endara. Milu kopanga manyandi wagiloka. Kodi loka rasira. Nyar sikuno makoi. Nyar sikuno makoi. Chumamin dao koda on mojonya. Andwayo mato ketere to tero pesa. Woi rabondo to ipi. Woi rabondo to ipi. Mamonu laro te mandopa. Alo matondopa mayando revenyo. Jacuera wachmano kuala. Jacuera wachmano kuala. Okuala tokatanga mokuale bede onge awara. Jajuako ero wachmaro ira. Jajuako ero wachmaro ira. Ano ira tokatanga mo ire bede onge awara. Nyarara joero wachmaro sera. Nyarara joero wachmaro sera. Ano sera tokatanga mo sere bede onge awara. Rabondo ero wachmaro liela. Rabondo ero wachmaro liela. Ano liela tokata yer milielo bende onge awara. Eni puto ero wachmaro woto. To puto ero wachmaro woto. Awoto tokata tielo ma woto bende onge awara. Where do you give me an iji? Where give me an iji? Jimielo. Karamana mbaka jigoe. Karama sungu bemiel. Temine madongo bayongo. Dimana no la pimo. Dimana no la. Merte. Como bemereji. Kadi kuer como berome. Kadi mad soda bemereji. Karamana nyiri bemereji. Karada kachiel bemereji. Kedo mangany bemereji. Tomondo kangany bemereji. Tokata kano bemereji. Kado bedi dier bemereji. Kenyo malichi bemereji. Karamana nyao bemereji. Merte. Como llega la ñinga. Karamana mwando bemereji. Karamana dao bemereji. Wak maler bemereji. Karamana duku bemereji. Karamana lil bemereji. Karamana dao bemereji. Karamana bet bemereji. Jimielo. War mangany bemereji. Karo bedi koko bemereji. Karamana nindo bemereji. Yemo mangany bemereji. Ojaga di fuga bemereji. Ojaga di fuga bemereji. Ndiga di gode bemereji. Cuaro. Assistant chief,